Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a great rack. I've got the blank, I've got the Z. I may not be able to bingo immediately, but I should be able to score well with the Z and have a really good rack leave. A play of Zars would leave AST blank, which is a very strong 4-letter set. But do I have a bingo with this rack? I have stanzas. Fantastic. There may be others, and there may not. Just wait and see what my opponent plays and see if stanzas can go down. If it doesn't, and I can score well with Zars, then I'd still be in pretty good shape. While my opponent is waiting to play, I think I'll squiz through the alphabet and see if I can see anything else. And I'm looking out for 7s and 8s. That looks potentially promising for an 8. Not seen anything else yet. Again, that looks potentially good. That is stanzas. Okay, well, since I'm close to the end of the alphabet, I think I will continue. Well, I can't see anything, but it doesn't matter because stanzas does go. Let me just check the floaters I ought to check, which are the A for the triple words column. Can't see anything there, and column 5 with the P. Nothing there. So I have a choice of places to play stanzas, and this is, I think, easily the best spot because nothing goes to the left of the Z, so I'm limiting the danger from this triple word square in the middle. Are there any parallel plays I should consider? Well, not that score more, so stanzas for 76. Not great. I can't see a bingo here. And I'm going to struggle to leave a decent rack leave. Great, zinc takes an O after it, and I've got some of those, so I could play goog. I could play goof. For 30. 32 rather. Is there something better? Well, I would have goofing through the N, but I think this scores more, and it also takes out quite a dangerous spot. Because zinc takes an S as well as an O and a Y, so column 13 would have been a bingo lane for bingos ending in S. Now there are no such lanes without significant overlaps. So 32 points for goof. And this is the best spot for it. I could have played it one square lower, but that would have opened up row O. Wow, I have ignoble. Not sure there's anywhere for that. Ignobles is not good, but inglobes is. So I have a bingo in row N. And this is a pretty good rack. By which I mean there may well be other bingos on this board, so I've got inglobes. Do I have any alternatives to consider? I'm just looking at the floaters in Mutineers right now. Not seeing anything. Inglobes for 76. Fantastic. Another blank. Plus another high-scoring tile in the X. And I lead by 120 points. I'm just wondering about Exaltedly. That could well be good, but it's a 9-letter play, so I'd need 2 letters to play through. Great, just 15 points for my opponent. I can't see a 7-letter bingo with this rack. The blank, I think, would need to be a vowel. And I'm not seeing anything there. But there are some floating vowels on the board. An E, a U and an A. And well, I'm not seeing anything. It's likely to end LY, I think, if there were to be something. So I'm not seeing anything. Goof takes a Y. I've got a Y, so I could play Yex. And that's worth considering. It's not massively dangerous. My opponent went bingo with it. And the score's quite good. About 38 points. But is there a better spot? I quite like the idea of getting rid of the Y with the X since I have the blank. So I'm looking to bingo as soon as possible. So I want to get rid of all my non-bingo-y tiles as quickly as possible. 16 minutes on my clock. Now my X can go underneath both of these E's in Eupneas. But I'm not seeing a way of getting rid of the Y along with it. I don't have anything in row O. Yex does feel too dangerous, sadly. I've got links, but the score for that is pretty poor, but the rack leave is great. Now, what about playing links here? 28 points, that's not massively below the Yex score. I think this X probably is gifting my opponent between 10 and 20 points, so I suspect links is going to sim better than Yex. And the rack leave is a lot better, so I think this is a better play. Is there something better than links? Well, not that I've seen. Not so good drawing the Q. However, there is a U out in the open. So I have requoted through the U, but links obstructs that. Just. And I can use the blank as a U. So I would have requited through an I. No I available. 21 points from my opponent. And look at this. He's played aft, which takes a D and an R in front. But I can't use that without retaining the Q, which I don't want to do. But I may need to. I don't have to jettison the Q immediately, especially with the blank. Now, am I sure I don't have a bingo with this rack? I think the blank would need to be a U, since the U of Eupneas has been taken. So I'd have detract through an A. No A available. Not too many floaters to consider. Okay, so why don't I play Treed? Maximising the score, 31 points, taking out a nice spot for my opponent. And still 3 U's to come, but with the blank available as a U. And quite a few I's to come. I think this is the play. Great, I draw a U, so I don't have to burn my blank as a U for a non-bingo play. I have keyage on my rack. Nowhere for that at the moment. Column 11 available as a 7-letter bingo lane for bingos ending in S. Just looking around the board in case I've missed a spot for keyage. Not seeing anywhere, and I'm not seeing any other bingo with this rack. So, where can I jettison the Q? And it would be good to get rid of Q, U, A and Y. I've still got the Y for Goofy. Well, sorry, I've just drawn the second Y for Goofy. I burnt the first one with links. Opponent gets 26 points. Doesn't provide anywhere for keyage. So the floaters are the N, E and A of Upnears. None of those really help. I have Quep, but the rack leave is dreadful, and it's only 13 points. Quale is better in column 5, retaining just the Y. Score pretty low, but I think I'm resigned to a low score as the price of burning the queue. So Quale for 28. I could play equal in the same spot, but I think this is better, because the equal would place an E next to this triple letter square. Not great. However, if I have a bingo ending in A, it would play in column 12, making Ag. I've still got the Y for Goofy. That's unlikely to be a useful spot for me. It's going to be hard to play there, get the play doubles, and not provide access for the triple word squares for my opponent to have first stab at. Still a few floaters in Upnears to consider, in particular the E. Let me see if anything comes to mind. Still 12 minutes on my clock. Haven't seen anything yet. Wow, just 10 points for my opponent. And I could have done with that last time, then Keages would have played. Close to Synovia. Okay, so I'm not seeing a bingo with this rack. I'm looking to get rid of the A and the Y, and ideally one more vowel. That may be difficult. So where can I score? Well, I could play Yoni, but that retains both A's. I could just play A, Y and Goofy. I've got the A-T-I-O-N ending. I've got an I for going after the Q. So, wow, I could play Yin. 27 points, but keeping double A-O blank, that doesn't feel great. I'm just wondering about making a play making FY, because FY takes nothing after it. So I could play YA here, but that's really is providing a very easy scoring spot on a plate for my opponent. 10 minutes on my clock, 38 tiles still to come. I don't really want to take out these floaters since I've got a bingo-y rack. So I'm thinking about playing AY for 17. It gives nothing away at all. And the rack leave is only vulnerable to vowels, of which there are a few in the bag. Great! I draw 1, but I also draw the R, and that makes a big difference. I'm confident I have a bingo with this rack. But do I? I have rain out, so I have rain outs in column 11 onto the S. Do I have anything down onto the A? It looks like I may do. But nothing's coming to mind. What about the E? That's not going to score very much. The N, I've got the Asian ending. Unration, not good. Great, 21 points for my opponent, and he's provided a new spot for rain out. Rain out for 76. Pretty bad, but look at the scores. I'm 200 points ahead, so I'm in good shape. Still 27 tiles in the bag, so quite a lot of action still to come. Column 11 quite dangerous with this S. Both blanks have gone. So how to sort this rack out? Well, the K is my scoring tile, and I'm looking to sort out the duplicate, so a play of Koi or Oik would do that. I would have Oikist through an S, but the N blocks that. My K can go in front of EF, so I could play Ko. 32 points for my opponent. Ko's not great. It keeps a duplicate I and a preponderance of vowels. Let me have a look at the remaining vowel situation. 12 out of 32. Okay, so it's quite vowel light, but still 4 I's to come, so I'm reluctant to keep 2 of them. So anything better than KO. That's 29 points, so that's what I'm looking to beat. So I could play Koto. Plays off one more vowel. 24 points. It's taking out a bingo lane, and maybe next time I can take out column 11. Rackleave, not a disaster with this floating N because of the ING ending. Duplicate I pretty horrendous with the remaining I's. I do, however, have a comfortable lead. Can I do better? Just 24 points and I'm retaining duplicate I. Let me put this back. Now, what about using QI? Oik and Koi don't work in that spot, so the best I can do is just KI. 27 points, that's not better than Koto. Oik's in column 11 or Koi's just doesn't score enough. Eek is good. KA is good. I don't have a play in column 11 which gets doubled. I'm going with Koto and hoping that I don't draw eyes. And I don't. I don't have a bingo through the N, but it's a fairly balanced rack. And look at this, I could play Wig next go for a decent score and sorting the rack out. Not too many other hotspots on this board. The K takes nothing to the left of it, so column 13 not available. So what if Wig is blocked? Do I have something in column 11 which gets doubled? I do. I have Pagris, retaining the W for score, but with the other W still out there, that's not ideal. And also the score isn't great. So I have Wig for 29. Wig for 29. Not too bad. Still 16 tiles in the bag, but the end is drawing near, I feel. Just 26 points for my opponent, so I've got nearly 180 point lead. Do I have something in column 1, ending with E, burning a B or a P, or preferably both? Can't see anything. I'm wondering if by parts is good. It's not. And nor is by part, so don't play either of those. I would like to take out column 11. The remaining tile's not too bingo-y, but it's easily the best bingo lane on the board. But I do need to get the play doubled to get a good enough score. And I feel there is something here, but I'm not seeing it. Just 6 minutes on my clock. Well, I have tape ears, but that keeps the B. It puts an A next to this triple word square. I don't want to do that. I have pirate. 27 points. I'm turning over 5 tiles, which is good since I want to get this game over with, and not out of impatience or any other wrong reason, but just because I've got a good lead. So the quicker I can reduce the tiles in the bag, the less goes my opponent has got to bingo. And there are bingo lanes on this board, especially column 11 ending with S and the floating E of Mutineers. So pirate for 27, slightly risky in that the bag is Val light and I'm not retaining any, but there is the floating E of Mutineers and, well, I guess the vowels in pirate, but they're not as useful being at the front of the word. Wow. I draw vowels. That looks pretty good. I think ebonism is good, in which case I have ebonisms in column 11. Just looking at the floaters in pirate to see if I have anything beginning with any of them. And I'm pausing over the A. That looks promising, but nothing comes to mind. So, will ebonisms remain available? And what to do if it's blocked? 9 tiles in the bag. Floating A of Mutineers also. But nothing's coming to mind. I've got B, E in column 13, but that's a fairly small score. Not too many scoring spots on this board. Great, ebonisms remains available, but is it good? Let's find out. It's not good. How annoying. How annoying. Let's get this off the board as soon as possible. That's better. What a shame. So, am I confusing it with something which is good? As in an anagram? Or am I confusing it with ebonize? Gosh, I wasn't expecting that to come off. I was fairly confident about it. Okay, so I need to sort this rack out a little bit. It's a very bingo-y rack, and the remaining tiles are pretty un-bingo-y, so I'm looking to play off just a small number of tiles, maybe the B and the O. So I could play ob and ab. Anything else? Just reluctant to not play a bingo here if there is one. Floating E, floating S, S and N. Misborn through an R. Bromines through an R. That just misses. P not looking so useful. Okay, I think it's time to stop looking and play BO for... I don't want to do that. I want to play OB for 14 points. 3 minutes on my clock. Not a good pickup. J's non-bingo-y. So is there somewhere to play off just the J without obstructing any bingo lanes? The game is won. I'm over 200 points in front. Well, I'm not sure there's anywhere for just the J apart from JA, and that takes out the floating E. However, column 11 available, and the floater's in pirate, so maybe I can just play the J in that spot. Just looking around for anywhere I can play the J with other tiles on my rack. So I have Jimp keeping Wrens. 30 points. That is tempting. I think this is partly going to depend on how many tiles are left in the bag. If Jimp empties the bag, I may prefer to play Jar. Okay, so both those spots available. One tile in the bag. And they look quite nice. I think I'll go for the bingo. Jar for 9. That doesn't look too great. Do I have anything beginning with the A? No. Okay, so that didn't work out. My lead is still nearly 200 points. Just 2 minutes on the clock. Opponent's got CID, so he's got acid. Does he have a second out? I'm not sure he does, so I should block that, which is quite difficult. Well, a play onto the P would work, but I don't have one. 2 minutes on my clock. So does Airmen do the job? No, because my opponent would have side and dice. Let me take this back. Is Nymphs good? Well, that wouldn't work either. Opponent would still have Cid. Wow, tricky end to the game. What about N? Does that work? I think it may. Does my opponent really have nowhere for Cid? And do I then have an out? I would have Perms, which may stay available. So I'm going with, and Rems and Ends, I'm going with this. And opponent doesn't play, runs this clock all the way down to 0 and 1 minute overtime, forfeits the game. While I was waiting for him to play, I did spot an additional couple of outs in column 9 with Rems, playable in 2 spots, which would have been the highest scoring out. Anyway, final score, 260 to my opponent, 475 to me, a winning margin of 215 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. it was my opponent to go first. He plays Near, and I have Stanzas, which was the only bingo. Opponent plays Zinc, and I play Goof. Fogey also available, but sticking the E in the bottom row, so Goof better. Horrible rack for my opponent. Plays Vav. Great rack for me. I have In Globes. Wow. Still no vowels for my opponent. Plays Del. Great no missed bingo here. H5, pixed down from the P. I struggled with this rack. I eventually went with Lynx for 28. And I still like that because the rack leave is the best on offer here. And it's not too much of a point sacrifice. Is blank DET 8 points better than blank LT? I think it is. I think the E really helps a blank. Now, opponent's rack. Plays Aft. Great no missed bingo here, and I played Treed for 31. I still like that. The Q played Burns the blank, and only gets 15 more points. The blank worth about 25. Opponent's rack has threens, doesn't play it. Difficult one to spot, and I have Keage, nowhere for it. G12 Aqua. Okay, quite nice. But equal or quale, also quite nice. Opponent's rack has Enterons, plays Vavs. And now this was a rack I struggled with, and I went with AI in the end. And well, there may be better plays, but none of these rack leaves look fabulous. Opponent's rack plays double E. And now I play Rain Out. I could have got one more point with Main Hour, because I wouldn't be putting a blank next to FE. Opponent has Oriented, plays Nox. Another rack I struggled with. I went with Koto for 24, and none of these rack leaves are ideal, so I still like my play. Opponent plays Ed. Now I have Wig for 29, which I like. Opponent plays EH. Wow! Missed bingo here. Baptizer through the E. How annoying. Okay, so that was a miss. Well done if you spotted that. I played Pirate. And opponent has Retiarii with 3 eyes. Very difficult to see. Plays Ita. This is where I tried to play Ebonisms, and it came off. And I played Ob. Opponent plays Rights, and now I was toying between Jimp and Jar, thinking I may have a bingo. I went with Jar. Although, well, G burns 2 tiles and there's only 1 in the bag, so I think Jar is the only play which burns just the 1 tile and gets rid of the J. Opponent plays Maul. No bingo. And I play N to block my opponent's out. Opponent doesn't have an out. This is where he stopped playing. So if he'd carried on, well, I would have had Rems or Perms and would have gone out. So cracking game, nearly 500 points, plenty of action across the board and some good bingos. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.